All right, well, I'm Brian.
I'm Sam.
And what we're going to do is a tasting of 3 different Angel's Envies. We have the Angel's Envy Cask Strength, the Angel's Envy Rye, and good old-fashioned regular Angel's Envy. The Angel's Envy is, of course, a very delicious bourbon.
Yeah.
We have tried all 3 of these previously, so we do have that. Now, these have been placed in a different order. They don't necessarily match the order of the bottles. Our producer has hidden what each one is so that we can go through and taste them and then figure out which one is which by analyzing the tasting note, the smells, the colors, and see if we can determine which one is which.
Yeah, and we're both pretty well acquainted with these whiskeys, so we're going to be going based on past experience, as well as, a little bit of just how we're experiencing it in the moment.
So let's start with A. On the nose, I would have to go with this. It has that rye smell. But let me take a taste.
I'm going to say that's... I think I want to say that might be... This is our second take of this, and all of a sudden...
I know, we have gone through this before. We had a mistake, and we got it right 100%, and this is the first time that it's been more perplexing between the rye and the cask strength, because in the past, the cask strength does have some notes of rye. It is a stronger, higher proof, just like the rye is. But I think we may actually have to go through and sample the others this time, which is not usually the case. Now, we do have some coffee beans here to help clean our nose. Makes it easier as we go through and do the different tastings, the different scents, to make sure that we have a clear palate. I have some peanuts as well.
Okay, so we'll go for B. That's the rye.
I agree.
That's the rye. Yeah, because on the nose I was thinking it has... I'll wait till we get to C, but I'm leaning cask strength here. I'm leaning cask strength here. Although it has... well, no, it might be the regular, because it has some of that that's brighter acidic.
I'm gonna have to taste it, because there is definitely overlap between the higher proof rye and the cask strength.
This is absolutely the rye.
That's definitely the rye. It definitely has the strongest...
It's got clove, it's got...
Yeah, the rye has a very distinctive clove taste to it. It has the spiciness of the rye, which would make A definitely the cask strength. And...
Well, jury's out for me on whether A is the cask strength. I mean...
Now see, it's... But...
yeah, I'm actually... Based on coloration, I'm going to say A's the regular Angel's Envy. Yep. I'm saying...
This has... I think you may be right. The B is definitely the rye.
And for me, one of the distinguishing qualities...
C is definitely the cask strength after taking a sip of it.
Yeah. One of the really distinguishing notes for me between the cask strength and the regular Angel's Envy is actually a point of contrast between our own perceptions. Because for me, the cask strength is super, super mellow on the nose. It's this nice, friendly, kind of enveloping, sugary flavor, whereas Angel's Envy has this really distinct banana note that a lot of other people recognize.
And normally I pick off the banana, and that's, I think, what threw me off a little bit this time. And I don't know, it's because this is, in a way, our third time through that I did not get the banana note at all off of A, but for me, the cask strength is definitely much more harsh. Now, I think it's incredibly smooth for something that's almost 130 proof, and every year Angel's Envy releases a new cask strength. It varies by proof each year, but it's always very much overproofed.
Yeah.
And I can smell the heat, the alcohol off of it, and I don't know what it was, if it's because we've done this several times today, that it actually threw me off a little bit.
Yeah, for me, and we have it on record, I wasn't quite sure, and for me what was making me think this was the regular Angel's Envy was I didn't get the full banana note, which maybe is because the glass is a little depleted, or they've been sitting out a little while. It's possible that evaporated off a bit. But there was still a hint of that brightness there that, to me, led me to think this was the regular Angel's Envy. So, with that, do we want to see?
And off of C, it was, as soon as I tasted it, I could taste that difference of it being the cask strength. It does have a lot of complexity to it, but it does have more of a burn to it to me, and it doesn't have any of that banana note. It has a little bit of that rye, which you don't get at all in regular Angel's Envy. It's not quite like drinking the rye, but it does have that rye flavor. So, shall we check with our producer? I think we're in agreement. Regular for A,
Yep.
B we have the rye, and then C we have cask strength.
All right, so A is regular, B is rye, C is cask strength.
Cool.
And it definitely, I think, this time around, having all three the rye was easy.
Yeah.
The rye is
Once you
always
taste
very
it, it's-
distinctive. And there's definitely more similarities between, although there's similarities between cask strength and the rye, in that the cask strength does have a little bit of rye flavor. It doesn't have the strong clove notes. The rye isn't nearly as prevalent. But I find that the cask strength, besides that, to me it has that alcohol, a little bit heavier, but I also get a little bit more of the fruitiness,
Yeah.
being that it's in port barrels that I get from the regular Angel's Envy.
Yeah.
Although Angel's Envy, I tend to get more of that banana smell, which ironically I did not necessarily get this
Yeah.
first time through, but the cask strength I get like some apple, some walnut. It's just generally more fruity, whereas the rye just hits you more with like the spices.
Yeah. And with the rye, for me, it's aged in rum cask. It has this really, really characteristic molasses, brown, sugary flavor. And yeah, for me, the main distinction in the body on the regular Angel's Envy versus the cask strength, I just gestured incorrectly, but is definitely that the regular Angel's Envy tends to be lighter, which is, again, you get that banana, whereas the cask strength, perhaps because it's fresh out of the cask, we can probably look up and mention after the fact whether or not there's a difference in the aging time, because I don't have that off the top of my head, but the cask strength definitely has a darker, kind of fuller, more complex taste to it, perhaps as a result of being overproof. So.
Yeah, and the rye is obviously overproof as well, so it has more of those complexity as well. I wouldn't consider any of them simple at all. There's definitely a lot of flavors, and I would certainly, I enjoy all three of them.
Yeah.
Well, we will be doing this on a fairly frequent basis. The next broadcast we're going to do is an analysis of different aged Macallan scotches versus whiskeys, which we've done today. And the Macallans that we're going to do are going to be distinctively aged differently: a 12-year, the 15-year, the 18-year. And then Macallan does have some special editions that the aging process isn't labeled on the bottle by any means, but they are still considered single malt scotches, and they are four very distinctive different scotches. We have had both of them, but I think that's going to be a greater challenge than figuring out
more of a toss-up, yeah.
the three different Angel's Envy. So thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey guys, this is Ethan, the producer behind the camera. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and tell us in the comments which one do you like the best and what do you think. Thanks.